because he's thinking somehow, oh God, oh goodness, golly gee, I don't want to have a weapon because that's against the law,
No,
and I might get in trouble.
no. Oh
It just
golly.
strains
Oh no, no.
credulity.
Remember,
The illogic of that type of attitude is so ridiculous that it somehow escapes the mass media whatsoever.
it doesn't escape them. They're dumb to begin with, and so you have these people who don't know anything about weapons, who don't know anything about guns. We don't have,
Right.
you have a president. When they talk about Trump lying, you remember, Frank, I used to say, whenever Barack Obama's lips are moving, you've heard me say this at least 1,000 times. Whenever Barack's lips are moving, he was lying. And I used to prove that. I used to prove that night after night on WVON, because he would come on, he'd say, we don't need the weapons of war, military weapons on the streets of America. Why would you have an AR-15, a weapon that you use in Afghanistan and Iran or Iraq in Chicago? Knowing he's lying. I mean, he never, and the media never called his lying ass out.
Exactly right. Look, when you have a country that has decided there's no such a thing as right or wrong, when we have schools that will not teach the Judeo-Christian ethic, when we do not have the value judgment to see a disturbed individual and say, that guy, or I suppose possibly gal, is absolutely crazy. Like the guy, I believe in the El Paso shooting, I'm not sure whether it's El Paso or Dayton, actually had lists that he kept in high school of those he wanted to rape and kill.
Well, Frank, Frank, we cannot bother this student because the student is just being creative and expressive. And why would we want to suppress his creativity? Of course, he doesn't mean these things. He couldn't possibly mean that he was, I remember very clearly, my good friend J.C. Watts had come to Chicago, and I put on an event for him in 1999. And we were going back to the airport, and I said to him, he was talking about Columbine, they were going to vote on a gun law. And I said to him, JC, we had more people than that die in Chicago last weekend. And he looked at me and he said, well, how come I didn't hear about it? I said, JC, we have at least 5 or 6 people get killed every weekend. It says I've been here, and I've been here for 4 years. And he looked at me, he just looked in shock. He said, oh my God. I said, yeah. I said, so these kids, the only reason we're talking about them is because they're white kids in the suburbs. It's just like when you talk about Parkland. What did the kids say at Parkland? This shouldn't happen to us. It's okay for it to happen in Miami. It's okay for it to happen in Hollywood, Florida. It's okay for it to happen in a ghetto, but this should not have happened to us, is what the kids were saying. We're special. We're entitled. We're 91010. We have the right zip codes. Why is this happening to us? This shouldn't. I mean, that's what they were saying. Is that not it? So, in my opinion, as a black man in America, and listening to these young white kids saying, why is this happening to us? This should not have. That sounds very racist to me. Sounds very.
Well, there's something else involved too. There's a political end to this as well.
What's that?
The cities like Chicago, like Baltimore, they're Democratic strongholds. So, I mean, you don't want to illustrate this happening in a Democrat stronghold because it shows the lack of political skill or lack of political viability of Democrat leadership. It's a very political thing we're looking at. If it happens in a Republican jurisdiction or a Republican state like Texas, it's okay for the media to make a big thing out of it. Because, after all, it happens in an area where they're Republicans. Let's show how bad they are. But if it happens in Chicago or Baltimore, you're missing the point. To ignore it.
The point is this. This is the real deal that nobody's talking about in the media because they're stupid. This mall, Cielo Vista Mall, went gun-free. A number of people hit my Facebook, hit my Twitter, and said, when the mall went gun-free, I quit going. I stopped going to the mall, stop visiting the mall. So what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but you're missing the major point here. You're talking, and I've been talking about this for the last couple of days. Everybody goes, well, you can carry openly in Texas, and I don't understand why no one was carrying in this mall. I said, because it's gun free. And they go, well, what does that mean? I said,
Right.
when they say it's gun free, even though the state law says you can carry concealed weapon, you can carry openly, you can't come on those premises when they put those placards up. And so we started it's opened some interesting discussions because like you were saying, well, in Texas this shouldn't happen because it's a Republican. No, it happened in a gun-free zone. Parkland, Florida, gun-free zone. I was talking to a buddy one night, and we were talking about after some shooting. I can't even remember which one. There's been so many. And he said to me, Charles is a black guy, a very wealthy black man. He says, I would not want to sit next to someone in a restaurant with a gun who was carrying a gun. And I said to him, I said, Bob, don't you have a home, a condo down in Coconut Grove? Well, yes, of course I do. And we go down when it's when the winter comes. I said, yeah, no. The reason this is a rhetorical question. I said, so you think that these white men and white women who are sitting next to you, who are driving their Maybachs, their Bentleys, their Mercedes, their Porsches, you think that they're carrying a weapon? Is that what you really think? He looked at me, he said, I never thought about it. I said, well, Florida is a carry state. That's why you don't hear about carjackings in Coconut Grove and places like that, because guess what? People are carrying. So just a little aside there.
Well, it's also fascinating when you get lectured by some elected official who's surrounded by bodyguards who are, of course, carrying, why you, Joe Public, shouldn't really have the right to carry a weapon to protect yourself.
Oh, you mean? Oh man, I wish I could find that Charlie Rangel. If I can find that Charlie Rangel piece, it's precious. Let's see.
I know exactly the cut you're talking about. Yeah.
I wish I could find. If I can find that Rangel piece where he says, "Oh my God! Well, of course we need protection up here." Well, my constituents, they don't need. We need protection. My constituents, they, basically they can fear for their damn self. I'm not concerned. That Charlie Rangel, man, he was a piece of work.
Actually, I had met and knew Charlie Rangel a bit many years ago. But you're absolutely right. What's very similar to last weekend in Sicily, there was an international gathering to discuss man-made global warming. These are folks, basically billionaires and the great powers of around the world, movie stars and all those types, who wanted to tell folks like you and me that we shouldn't drive our Kias and our compact cars because they're gas guzzling, which they're not. We shouldn't heat our homes to a degree that's comfortable, as they flew in on their private jets, their private helicopters, and their mega yachts.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is absolutely astounding.
Well, it's not even hypocrisy. It's just egregious is what it is. And it's sickening that they actually see, and this is the thing about these folks, they actually think they have something to say. It's like Bono and these people. Who are these people? It's like Lady Gaga. Who in the hell cares what Lady Gaga thinks? I mean, really? Who cares what Madonna thinks? I mean, Madonna, is last time I checked, she was a University of Michigan dropout. Okay. And she may do well in music, but she hadn't read many books. I'm sure of that. I mean, that's obvious. And, man, you can't make this stuff up, can you?
There's a reason, though, why the left-wing media and left-wing politicians love to quote folks who are, frankly, not experts in their field. If you look at most left-wing policies, whether it's gun control, man-made global warming, or a lot of their socialist economic theories, it really doesn't hold up under intense scrutiny. It's a lot better for the left to quote a bunch of folks who really don't know what they're talking about, who haven't done the research necessary. Because if you really did the research, if you really looked at the facts with any kind of expert eye, frankly, you would have the conclusion that their ideas on gun control, global warming, and economics are a bunch of BS that they simply don't hold up under
Well,
scrutiny.
let's just look at one BSer, Bernie Sanders. The restaurateurs in New York are saying, you know what? We can't afford to hire people. Even on Bernie's own staff, where people are being paid below
Right.
minimum wage, he's cutting hours. He's going to raise their salary and drop their hours. I mean, here's a guy who is a total anachronism. Why does he share some of that $1 million that he has? He's a millionaire. Why didn't he just go in his checkbook and write his staff, give him a healthy raise out of that millions of dollars he made selling books? What did he say? Go out and sell a book and become a millionaire. Ha 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 ha. I mean, this guy is a joke at best, man.
One of the fascinating things, whether we're talking, and all totalitarian politics are the same. Whether you call yourself a socialist, a communist, a Nazi, a monarchist, even, it all comes down to the same thing, which is there's a group of people, or sometimes just a small group of people, who get all the privileges, who get, and the heck with everyone else. We're much better than you, they're saying. We deserve
Well, that's
this
Barack
stuff.
Obama.
You don't. Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately,
that was
true.
Barack
and
Obama.
It's pretty much the entire Democrat.
That's Barack Obama. That's Hillary.
Elite as a whole.
That's Hillary Clinton. These people think that they could tell us, the rest of us, what to do. I've always had just ardent disdain for Barack Obama. I mean, I've just never, ever liked anything about this man. Never, ever. And the reason is because he's a pompous a-hole and he thinks he's better than everyone. And see, I look at this guy and I see an emaciated African is what I see. I see a guy who couldn't whip his way out of a wet paper bag. I see a guy who can't throw a baseball because he's not an American. Okay. He wasn't raised as an American. He may be an American on paper, but he's certainly not an all red-blooded American boy, if you know what I mean. Frank? I'm on a roll today, man. I'm on a roll today, baby.
You are indeed.
But
isn't it fascinating, Charles, how all of these issues tend to come together in a common theme?
Yeah, it is. It always is. But Frank, we just have to, in my opinion anyway, we have to be clear. We have to be steadfast. We have to be resolute in not allowing liberals to drive our agendas, because these people are generally people who don't have any experience. Like when they talk about weapons, they talk about guns, they talk about automatic weapons. The only time I've ever seen an automatic weapon on the street, it's in the hands of a SWAT team, not even law enforcement, a SWAT team, which is trained in special tactics, paramilitary tactics, military tactics. They are tactical operators. Now, when you go overseas and the gendarmes are standing there with those big ass machine guns, those are serious. I mean, you see police officers with machine guns in France for the terrorist attacks. So, when I used to go, I mean, they've had these machine guns out since the 80s, man. And the little gendarmes. You think of the gendarmes, you think of kind of what's his name, the Pink Panther, right? No, man, these dudes are standing around.
Inspector
Clouseau, right. Yeah, the Pink Panther, and Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther. I'm sorry. So that's who I think of when I think of a gendarme. But man, these guys are serious and they are not playing. When they say something to you, that's exactly what they mean. And by the way, Frank, you better have your goddamn passport with you when they ask for it. Okay? When they ask you for ID, you can't say, well, I'm undocumented. I'm from the US. Where's your passport? Where are your papers? That's what they say. Here in America, these people try to act like you that papers don't matter. I can tell you right now, if I'm riding my bicycle, or better yet, this is a better example, running down the street about say 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I've had police officers pull me over and ask me where was I running from. I'm in running gear. Where are you running to? What's your name? Where's your driver's license? Well, I'm running. Yeah, but you should have some ID. I mean, these cops, and they do what they want to do because we let them get away with this bullshit. And that's all it is. But look, I'm not going to dwell on that. What I do want to segue to is real quick before you have to go is nobody's focused on the fact that in Dayton, this young man shot his sister and killed his sister and shot her companion. He lived, but he's black. And of the 9 people that were shot in Dayton, 6 of them were black.
Yeah, he also had he was affiliated with left-wing causes. And actually the guy in El Paso too, although he had what's considered white nationalist ties. The fact of the matter is, most of his politics were hard left politics. Something else that you don't see reported on most of the major media.
Like the guy who organized the Charlottesville right wing get together. He was a Barack Obama campaign supporter, and he worked for the Obama campaign in several capacities. You mean like that kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing, indeed.
Yeah. So, my friend, it's been interesting.
It has. Charles, I look forward to our next conversation.
Yes, indeed, Frank. Thank you so much for calling and calling in and
take care, Charles.
Chatting with us. All right, you too. Bye-bye. Okay, so folks, we gotta I got this guy calling. He's on my Facebook thing here. And I'm putting on here. I don't talk to. Let's see. I don't communicate with avowed. How do you spell avowed? Vowed. There we go. Sinners. There we go. Yep, that's it. That's what I'm putting down. So we'll do that. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just communicating on my end here. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make this stuff up. So let's go to, I'm going to cut out here. the 20 some odd, what do you call those people? The presidential candidates. They are flocking to where? To Pastor Robert Fowler's church. And this Robert Fowler, man, he is serious about the Bible. He is serious about the word. Now we got Kevin Weenie, Melvin Weenie's on the line. Melvin? Hello?
Yes, Charles. Hi. How are you today, my brother?
I'm good. How are you, my brother?
Hello, Charles?
Yes, I'm here. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, No, I just wanted to go back up what you had said about Earl, the foreign occupier of the Oval Office of the last administration.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's as phony as a $3 bill. I'm a black American, and I do support this president that's in office right now.
I do too. 110%.
All we've ever, like you said. Oh, absolutely. I know there's more of us coming along here.
No question.
Like getting off that Democrat plantation.
Well, it's beautiful because It's beautiful because this man speaks, he doesn't speak political speak. He speaks to the real issues. We know as black men and black people that immigration, both legal and illegal, hurt black Americans' opportunities for education, for job opportunities. I'm looking at people. I remember dating a woman back in the 70s who could not get promoted from being a teacher's aide because she didn't speak Spanish. This was in the 70s in San Diego. And it broke her heart. It broke her heart because all the little Latino women who came into the program with her were getting promoted, and she was being held back because she was an American. I mean, how crazy is that? And you see that today more and more, where people are saying, "Well, I can't hire you because you can't speak to the workforce because the workforce is all illegal and speak Spanglish."
Right. You know, you're right about that. I mean, I've got friends who are die-hard Democrat affiliates or registered.
Right.
And they look now and these guys have got some nice, got some hard working jobs, work on thoroughbred racetracks, gallop horses in the morning and things of that nature.
Right.
And they were Democrat to the bone, but now they see where the Democrat Party, black politicians in the Democrat Party are fighting more for illegal aliens to get citizenship in this country than they are for their own people.
Well, I mean, let's just
they're getting the hell out. They're getting out of it.
Well, let's just take a step back. You're absolutely right. But you're absolutely right. But let's just take a step back. I have said, and think about this. I have said for years that every member of CBC in every district, in every member's district of CBC, there is a war zone. There is a war zone. Because like here in Chicago, Jesse Jackson's old district runs from like downtown or just south of the convention center, right through the south side, all the way down to Kankakee, which is a rural farming community, okay, where there's very little crime and people ride around in pickup trucks with shotguns in them and things like that. But you come into the city where his office was.
Around my hometown.
Yeah, you come into the city where Jesse's office is on the railroad tracks on 65th Street, and people are shooting, people are ducking. In fact, people are getting shot at the Walgreens and shootouts at the gas stations and things like that. These are things that are actually going on. You can look it up on crimemapper.com and just put in Jesse's old district. Anyway, long story short, what Trump said about I have said this about these black districts since I've been on the air, and that's since 2007, when I worked at VON, when I worked at WIND, when I worked at CRN. It doesn't make any difference. I've said the same thing and the same message. It doesn't change. And these people refuse to put black criminals in jail because it's incarcerating black men. Well, these men need to be incarcerated. Why do these people think the criminal element should be allowed to be on our streets? Why do these people think that it's okay to have these Negroes running around with their music blaring loud, creating a horrible quality of life for everyone else? Arrest them, put them away. I don't care if you wrap them up, put them on a boat, take them out to Lake Michigan and sink it. I don't care. See, I don't care about black criminals. Go ahead.
Well, it falls into that Margaret Sanger mentality or that policy, but they're doing it in a different way. Instead of like Planned Parenthood, which they still do, they still practice after birth or pre-death, but this is a way that they can do it without really having their hands on the charges, basically by letting grown men kill each other. And that way they can reduce that black population.
But these aren't grown men killing each other. These aren't grown men just killing each other.
We want kids.
You have to remember that
kids without a father.
One of the things one of the things that I reported was that in 2009, no, I take that back. 2011, when Rahm Emanuel came into office in 2011, 2012, he stopped reporting CPS children being killed in all this gunfire. I had chronicled that 144 children, school children, had been killed the year before in gun violence. 144 school children. Nobody wants to talk about that, of course. But you know, one of the things, Willie, that I was segueing to is simply that there's a pastor in Sin City in Las Vegas. His name is Robert Fowler, and all of these people, these 20 Democrat folks, are going to his church to meet with him. Right now, this guy, I love this guy because he is hell on the LGBT community, and this is what he has to say. Let me play this little clip right. Guy is not playing when it comes. He is preaching the gospel, and he sticks to the gospel, not this. Well, you know, God loves homosexuals. Well, he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So, I mean,
when it comes to homosexuality
here we
when
go.
it comes to homosexuality and same-sex marriage,
I think it's far more balanced and is communicated in the public. Our particular position in church is a position of restoration. So we believe that everybody is to be restored to God.
What does that mean?
We believe that everybody is to be restored to God. So whether you commit adultery, whether you commit fornication, whether you're a child molester, you gossip, you lie, you cheat on your taxes, you don't pay your tithes, things of that nature, all of that is wrapped together as sin along with homosexuality. And so at our church, we don't believe that there's any one sin that's greater than anything else.
So homosexuality is seen as a sin, though?
Along with adultery.
How can homosexuality not be seen as a sin? It is a sin. It's an abomination.
Right.
God destroyed two cities.
Multiply.
God destroyed two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And these people try to tell us that somehow same sex is acceptable and normal. I don't see any lubricating glands back in the anus. Sorry, in the vagina,
No, I mean,
it's got plenty of lubrication.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Well, the thing is, this is not the first time that this homosexual thing has popped up. It won't be the last. But I tell you, if it weren't for Donald Trump,
yes.
If it weren't for Donald Trump,
was it?
I don't know where this damn country would be, because these people are absolutely satanic.
God,
they're satanic. And when you see the debauchery, when you see the debauchery that goes on in these gay pride parades, they quit showing them on TV. They're so ridiculous. I mean, they don't even show them because
flamboyancy. Talk about flamboyancy.
Two dudes standing up kissing. I mean, they showed the real them, right? So, all I can say is, and I can tell you this, and you may have heard me say this. How often do you listen to the show, by the way, Will? Hello?
Well, no, I work third shift, and I try to get yourself in with Scott and everybody else. But sometimes when you're on, I'm out because I got to be to work by 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast. I mean, the East Coast time. So I kind of I could be in, I could be out. But today I happened to be up because I had to get my car into the shop, and I'm waiting for them to get back to me. So I turned on. I was listening to what's the name? What's the name? Come on before you. I listened to her, and then I said, getting myself something to eat, and I had still the same station on, and you were there, and I listened to you. But I listened to you a couple times prior to this.
Well, look,
this
man,
was like a while back, but
if you can't catch me here,
your podcast.
If you can't catch me here, you can catch me on Facebook. I'm on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Facebook, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Just Google me, Charles Butler. That's where I am. Go ahead.
Right, but before we go, I hope that the reverend in the church says to these guys, don't come here looking for looking for help from me, because after you get our vote, we're not going to see you. We can't find you with a search warrant until the next election cycle. He gets across to them.
That sounds.
You come here more often. You come here. Come into our community, Mel, and put an office in. Oh, you move. Yes,
Mel. The point is, these people. He is very anti-LGBT. That clip that I played. That clip that I played you was one of his softer. Was one of his softer rants on LGBT. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
So, what about Buttigieg? Is he going to come in there with the way that he lives?
I don't know if Buttigieg is going to come to his church or not. But Buttigieg has a lot of nerve. That's all I can say talking about his husband. And, you know, I mean, you know, like I said,
right. Will he bring his husband with him?
Well, my thing
he goes
is,
to the Reverend's church.
My thing is, I'm not interested in how you have sex. I'm not promoting homosexuality.
No, I don't care.
And the bottom line
Once
is,
that door closes, I don't care what you do behind that door.
you know, that's your business. Don't put me in it. If you want to go to hell, that's your own damn business. But you will not take me with you. And see,
go by yourself. You're not going to drag us with you.
Yeah, Barack Obama's claim to fame is just that he, in my opinion, that he was trying to take the moral fabric and fiber out of this country with his homosexual agenda, and he needs to come clean about his own sexuality.
You're right. You're right. I was going to say so. Because in his college, they said he was experimenting, quote unquote experimenting. But you don't experiment. If that's your feeling, that's where you want to go. That's who you are. Well, and that wife of his, look at Joan Rivers. What happened to her after a couple of weeks after she had said that Michelle might be Michael?
Well, they said
too long after she come up.
They said what happened was when she was in the chair, in the doctor's chair, some men came in and took over and put her out.
Right. There you go. What's to be covered up? I mean, is that punishment for speaking the truth? Or, you might have saw something in the ladies' room. You saw something hanging that shouldn't have been hanging.
I don't know.
And you didn't like the policies that they were pushing. You know what I mean?
Mel.
Yeah, right.
Mel, I don't know, brother. I don't know. But look,
I don't either, because I don't want to know, because I ain't bending over for nobody, and I ain't trying to hit nobody nothing where they don't belong.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Thanks, but Charles,
Bill.
listen.
Yeah.
I will listen. I'll listen to as often as I can.
Great.
Because brother like you, who's true and definite on how you speak and the way that you want this country to stay, the country that I grew up in.
Exactly.
I was born in 57.
I was born in 52.
And I see. Okay, and we both seen how this country was. I mean, if you were black and you had a job and you were looking for a job, it wasn't like we stayed home. Our fathers stayed home. Our fathers, we went out. They went out to find a job and go to work.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
And got busy.
It isn't like it is today, where the Democrat Party is crippling the black community,
especially the black man.
I would say.
And criminalizing us, talking about we're criminals. Well, they want to cater to the criminal class and give criminals an opportunity. And then when they get screwed by the criminals, they go, well, see, we tried to give those black men an opportunity. No, you gave black criminal men an opportunity, not black men. Anyway, hey, Mel, let me run. I got a couple other.
Take care, brother.
You too, baby. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
It was great to have Mel call in. It's great to have him call in. That was nice of him to call in. Pastor Fowler, though, he gets busy, man.
Wondering if, because we've seen the president kind of switch his position on.
He's talking about President Obama switch his position. He never switched his position on homosexuality. If you read David Axelrod's book, one of the teasers and hypes of Axelrod's books was simply this: Barack Obama knew that he couldn't come out in support of gay marriage or LGBT issues because he'd lose the black vote. Absolutely. Abso-effing-lutely. No question. Black people don't play that homosexual thing. Now, we have a lot of homosexuals. And you have women who, my hairdresser, he's funny. He ain't funny. He homosexual. Ain't nothing funny about being homosexual.
On this issue, and we'll talk a little bit more about that soon, but I wondered, how did the African American community respond to that? Support for the president, or are they going to stick with their...
A tremendous number of African American pastors and churches support the president, and there is a category of pastors and churches that do not support that policy but support his presidency.
All right. Some people say, as I mentioned in the opening, that the battle for same-sex marriage is the next civil rights battle. Some people have taken offense to that. Representative Arthur Davis, the former Democrat of Alabama, says the two are not comparable. He said, quote, African completely, in every sense of the word, marginalized. They were also the poorest group in the United States, with all due respect to gay.
Exactly. I say that all the time. Now, these homosexuals, per capita, highest education per capita, highest income per capita, and immoral. They bored, so they have to be special. That's what I guess. Be special. They can be special on their own. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in anything that they have to say. And one thing that I am definitely tired of is people like Tim Ryan calling the president a racist. I'm really tired of it. Here's Tim. Nobody heard of this guy before. He's a congressman from Ohio. Nobody's heard of this guy before. And he's trying to tell us, like AOC, if you ask me, just on the on the male side. Here he goes.
Neil, come on. Like, let's be honest here. You hear the president, you know what he says. He race baits. This guy alienates people and tries to separate us based on color. And when he uses words like invasion, and then this kid writes in his manifest, invasion, when the president spends so much time othering people and making them feel not included in the United States, or they're somehow not a part of this country for some reason, or to go back to where they came from, and then thousands of people are cheering it at his rally, and he says nothing, you're going to create an enbairment where the lowest common denominator in that society gets a gun and shoots people.
I hear where you're coming from, but sir, the fact of the matter is, even Nancy Pelosi says he used racist words. She doesn't think he's a racist. You're proclaiming he is.
Exactly. These people are proclaiming that the president is a racist because he says, hey, if you don't want to be an American, go back to where the hell you came from. I'm with him 110%. 110%. And if you don't, I often say, and if you don't believe me, we're going to have a good buddy of mine on. His name is El Razui. And he will break down to you about the incompatibility of Islam and democracy. And we talk about it all the time. We've been talking about it for a long time. There's a term called Taqiyya, T-A-Q-I-Y-Y-A. It's what Barack Obama used to try to sell that Islam is a peaceful religion. There's nothing peaceful about the religion of Islam. Look at the history of it. Nothing peaceful about the religion of Islam. But if you don't want people to assimilate and you want them to do whatever the hell they want to do, and they don't have to assimilate, and they can come here and not be American, and they want us to adapt to their ways. And if you think about it and you look at the streets, if you're a driver, you're out here driving, and these people drive like they're in Africa or Mexico or some other third world venue where you just cut over and cut people off. I would say to you all, jump on a plane, this summer, fly to London. Nothing but Muslims and Africans, man. And then you get on the bullet train, and go down to Paris and walk down the Champs-Elysees and look at all the burqas and listen to all the Farsi and smell all the Arab and African scents, because that's what's there. I don't even bother to go to Paris or London anymore because it's not Paris or London that I know. If I wanted to be there with all these foreigners, I'd go to Africa. I'd go to the Middle East. But that's not why I go to Paris or went to Paris or visited Paris and London. So I saved myself a lot of money this summer by not doing that. And if you, like I said, if you don't believe what we're talking about, all you got to do is look at France, Holland, Belgium, Germany, Hungary, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, where crimes and rapes have gone up because these men are rapists and they're criminals. And see, if you got anything going for you in your own country, then that's where the hell you'd be. Like, why in the hell would I want to go to Nigeria? Hello. Why are all these Nigerians here? Because they're looking for a better way of life. And they're taking it, and they're taking advantage of programs that were created for Black Americans, not for them. They come here with a family structure. They come here with foundation. They come here not tainted. They come here not inferiorized. People need to get it back together because we have lost a lot. We've lost a lot in these last 50 years dealing with the black church, dealing with these black pastors, dealing with their BS. Hey, look, we're getting near the end of the show. I just had a little alarm. So no, we're getting near the end of the show. Got like about 3 minutes left. And maybe one day I will go into the detrimental effects of the black church on black Americans over the last 60 years. It's been devastating. Man, oh man, it's going to be interesting though. Pay attention. These 2020 presidential hopefuls are flocking to Las Vegas. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's see what happens. They're flocking down there to see Robert Fowler. So we'll, see what happens with Mr. Fowler and what he's doing, because it's always interesting. It's always interesting to follow these folks and see how they change up midstream. That's what I say anyway. I'm going to leave you with this. Think about the shootings. Think about who did the shootings. Think about all the shootings that happened under Bill Clinton. Think President Obama had 20 plus mass shootings happen on his watch. I still don't understand what constitutes a mass shooting, but I will have a definition for you tomorrow. Assimilation. These shooters, they have a couple of things in common. White male, between 1835. No girlfriends. No sexual relief. Psychotropic drugs. Access to excellent weapons. And they go to gun-free zones. The only reason the guy in Dayton was taken out was because 2 cops happened to be there. He started shooting 30 seconds in. They were there on the scene and put him down where he needed to be. But I think that all mass shooters should be taken out. So look, we're going to head on out and see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on RedStateTalkRadio.com. Thank you. Hey. Well, folks, we're going to get on out of here. It's been a long one. See you tomorrow. Take care. Ba-da. Bing. Okay. We can take that out. We can go up here. We can end this stream. Cool.